Ever wish you could read minds? Well, today we're going to deep dive into Henrik Fexeus's The Art of Reading Minds
Oh, yeah.
to uncover the secrets of understanding people better. And guess what? It's not about mystical powers. It's about psychology and simple observation. Get ready to decode those hidden intentions and discover just how much people reveal without even saying a word.
Yeah, it's amazing how much we communicate unconsciously. Every gesture, facial expression,
Right.
even the words we choose paint a picture of our thoughts and feelings. It's like a secret language.
Really?
We all speak, but most of us aren't even aware of it.
So how do we start deciphering this secret language? Where do we even begin?
Well, first we need to grasp a fundamental concept called theory of mind.
Okay.
It's the ability to understand that others have their own unique perspectives, beliefs, and knowledge different from our own.
Oh, interesting.
It's like realizing that everyone has their own internal movie playing
Wow.
with its own plot twists and characters. That makes so much sense. I've definitely had those moments where I assumed someone knew what I was thinking, only to realize they were completely off track.
Yeah.
So how does this theory of mind actually help us read minds?
It helps us see things from their point of view instead of just observing their actions.
Okay.
We start to understand the why behind them. It's like having a backstage pass to their internal world.
Okay, that's fascinating. So we've got the theory of mind foundation.
Yeah.
What's next? What are some practical techniques for actually reading people's minds?
One of the most accessible and revealing areas is body language. Think about it. Have you ever noticed someone crossing their arms
Oh, yeah,
when they feel defensive
for sure.
or leaning forward when they're engaged in a conversation?
Oh, absolutely. Our bodies are constantly speaking volumes, even when our mouths are shut.
Exactly. And while there are some common interpretations, it's crucial to remember that context is key. The same gesture can mean different things depending on the person and the situation.
For example, crossed arms might signal anxiety in one person, but simply be a comfortable resting position for another.
So it's not just about memorizing a list of gestures and their meanings, right?
Right. It's about recognizing patterns, observing the overall picture,
Yeah.
and considering the individual and the environment. It's like solving a puzzle,
Okay.
piecing together those subtle clues to understand the bigger picture.
That sounds like a fun challenge. So we've talked about body language.
Yes.
What about facial expressions? Those seem like pretty obvious giveaways.
You'd think so, but even facial expressions can be deceiving.
Really?
We all know the basic emotions: happiness, sadness, anger, fear,
Right.
and their corresponding expressions. But what's truly fascinating are the subtle, fleeting expressions known as micro-expressions.
Micro-expressions.
These lightning-fast facial movements can reveal hidden emotions, even if someone is trying to mask them.
Wait, you're telling me there's a whole secret world of facial expressions happening right under our noses? This is getting really interesting.
It is. Once you start paying attention to these micro-expressions, it's like gaining access to a whole new layer of communication. You begin to see the nuances of human emotion in a completely different light.
So how do we develop our observation skills to become micro-expression detectives?
Right.
Do we need to enroll in some top secret spy training program?
Thankfully, no. One of the most enjoyable and effective ways to practice is good old-fashioned people watching.
Okay.
Find a spot in a cafe, a park, or any public space where you can observe people interacting.
I love people watching. Who knew it could be so educational?
It's a fantastic way to hone your observation skills.
Yeah.
Just pay attention to their body language, facial expressions, and see if you can pick up on those subtle cues. It's like a real-life game of Clue.
Oh, fun.
But instead of figuring out who did it, you're
Yeah.
trying to figure out what they're thinking or feeling.
The more you practice, the better you get at spotting those subtle giveaways.
Yeah.
It's like training your mind to be a human lie detector. But before we get too carried away with decoding everyone else, there's something else we should consider: self-awareness.
Absolutely. Being aware of your own nonverbal communication is crucial.
Okay.
It helps you understand how you come across to others
Right.
and how your body language and expressions might be influencing their perceptions.
That's a really good point. So much of communication is about being on the same wavelength, and that starts with understanding our own signals.
Precisely. It's about being mindful of how we present ourselves
Yeah.
and the unspoken messages we might be sending to the world.
This is incredible. It feels like we're just scratching the surface of this mind-reading thing. Imagine how understanding these cues could transform your interactions at work and relationships. or even just navigating everyday life.
It's about unlocking a deeper level of understanding and connection with the people around us.
This has been fascinating,
Yeah, it has.
but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to delve even deeper into the art of reading minds.
It's like suddenly you have this incredible insight into what makes people tick.
Right, it's like having a secret decoder ring for human behavior. But it's not just about reading other people. It's also about understanding ourselves better.
Exactly. The more we understand about how our own minds work, the better equipped we are to understand the minds of others.
Okay, so we've talked about body language and facial expressions. Are there any other non-verbal cues we should be paying attention to? Like, what about someone's tone of voice? Or even the way they dress?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tone of voice can be incredibly revealing. Think about it. You can say the exact same words in a million different ways,
Oh yeah,
and each one will convey a different emotion or intention.
it's true. Like, I'm fine can sound genuinely okay or totally sarcastic depending on how you say it.
Right, and even things like the pace of someone's speech, their volume, and the pauses they take can provide clues about their confidence level, their emotional state, and even whether they're being truthful.
So it's like we need to become masters of listening, not just hearing the words themselves.
Exactly. Active listening is essential for any aspiring mind reader. And you mentioned clothing. While it's not always a foolproof indicator, the way someone dresses can definitely give you insights into their personality, their profession, and even their mood.
Oh, for sure. Someone showing up to a job interview in sweats is probably sending a different message than someone wearing a suit.
Precisely. So it's all about paying attention to the details and piecing together the clues to create a more complete picture of the person you're interacting with.
It sounds like mind reading is more of an art than a science. There's no one-size-fits-all formula, is there?
That's a great way to put it. It's about combining your knowledge of psychology with sharp observation skills and a good dose of intuition. And the more you practice, the more nuanced your understanding will become.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here. But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something we mentioned earlier, the importance of using these skills responsibly.
Absolutely. It's crucial to remember that mind reading is not about manipulation or control. It's about empathy and understanding. We should never use these skills to exploit others or take advantage of them.
It's about using our newfound powers for good, not for evil.
Exactly. Think of it as a way to enhance your relationships, become a better communicator, and navigate the complexities of human interaction with more grace and understanding.
Well said. So to recap, mind reading isn't some magical ability. It's about tapping into our natural human capacity for observation, empathy, and understanding. And anyone can develop these skills with a little effort and practice.
And the rewards are worth it. Imagine being able to understand your partner's unspoken needs, anticipate your boss's expectations, or connect with strangers on a deeper level. That's the power of mind reading.
This has been eye-opening, but we're not done yet. We'll be back to wrap things up and leave you with a final thought-provoking question. And we're back, wrapping up our deep dive into the art of reading minds.
It's been a fascinating look into how we can better understand the people around us.
It really has. We've learned that with practice and a curious mind, anyone can develop these skills. It's about paying attention and remembering that everyone has their own unique story to tell.
Absolutely. And as we've discussed, the potential applications of these skills are vast. Whether you're navigating a challenging conversation, trying to connect with a loved one, or simply trying to understand why that cashier seems so stressed out,
Right.
being able to read minds can really make a difference.
It's like having a secret advantage in your interactions.
It is, but as we've emphasized, it's crucial to use this knowledge responsibly. It's about empathy and understanding, not manipulation or control.
Well said. So as we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question. We've talked a lot about reading other people's minds, but what about our own WN? If our bodies are constantly communicating, what message are you unintentionally sending to the world?
That's such a great question. It really challenges us to become more self-aware of our own nonverbal communication and how we might be affecting our interactions.
It is. It's a reminder that communication is a two-way street. We're not just receiving messages, we're sending them too. So the next time you're out in the world, take a moment to notice your posture, your facial expressions, your tone of voice. What are you saying without even speaking?
It's a journey of self-discovery that can lead to more meaningful connections and a deeper understanding of ourselves and others.
That's it for our deep dive into the art of reading minds. We hope you've enjoyed it and are feeling ready to start decoding the hidden messages all around you. Until next time, happy mind reading.